Hi guys, so come and join this live if you want a little bit of motivation, some inspiration from the lovely Trina about spiritual practice. I'm going to invite her into the video in a moment or two, but we'll see if people come in. From coming up on your timeline, just come and join the vibes to get some mundane motivation. And I'm going to be doing this weekly now. I think, it's important in our society. We get motivated to chase money. We get motivated to look a certain way. We get motivated to do certain things that sometimes aren't going to feed our soul, our higher consciousness. But I think if we motivate each other to stay on the spiritual path, then there's so many more rewards that last more than even this lifetime. So it's worth it, to stay on the spiritual journey. And over the next few weeks, I'd like to share more inspiration by people that inspire me about spiritual practice. So let's see if Trina's here. No. Oh, what's this? Oh, tap a question to answer. Tortrix, your question is just loads of hearts. If you want to ask a proper question, you can. My answer to that is loads of hearts back to you. Trina, where are you? Come on. Ah, here she is. All right, I'm going to invite you in.
Hi.
Hey, Trina, how are you?
Can you see me?
I can. You look
Okay.
beautiful.
You
You're
do
glowing.
too. You're glowing
Thank
too.
you.
This is so cool.
Right. Good to connect like this. So
Yeah.
before we start, I have a few questions about your spiritual journey and things like that. But why
Yeah.
don't you tell people a little bit about yourself? Also, we're going to
Mm,
share this IG. I'll save the video and post it as well, so people in the future who are not watching the live, they can find out a
good.
bit about you as well.
Yeah.
The reason that I invited you is just your energy. Like when I found your page, I was just so connected to you, and I could feel like we get a lot of the same downloads from spirit, and like the things you're posting, I was like, I think exactly like you. So that's why I thought it would be good to connect. So yeah, tell people a little bit about you.
It's so true. I was sitting here thinking, like right before I saw you go live, I was like giving thanks, giving gratitude to the
Yes.
universe because I've waited for a really long time to not just find, but for women to find me that really, really resonate. And
Yeah.
so I was sitting here going, thank you so much for me seeing this chick that I'm so happy that I thought you looked like Shakira. And I was like, who is this chick? And then I like clicked on you and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I'm so, so grateful. So there's that. So for those who don't know me, I'm Trina Otero, but I just say Trina from Akosmopolite or Trina Akosmopolite. Man, what do I say about myself? I am this strange galactic being here on planet Earth,
Yeah, I can
carrying out
feel it.
my
That's why I love you.
carrying out my mission as best as possible. So I run Akosmopolite, and that Akosmopolite actually birthed in 2011, like right when I started to get codes and activation from being asleep for a long, long time. And I'll get into that when we talk more about my spiritual journey. But so I I always knew that I was inclined to write. I love writing. I love expressing. So I actually majored in journalism, and I was just thinking about, I don't want to go into mainstream media. At that time, I already knew mainstream media was bullshit, and
Right.
so I was like, I'll just create my own blog, and I birthed A Cosmopolite just as a blog. And then when I started to get downloads and trying to figure things out and had that like instant awakening in 2012, I was like, okay. So I started to journal my journey and expressions there. And then after sitting with Mother Ayahuasca for 9 months, I was like, I'm going to turn All Cosmopolite into my business. I'm going to make it a website. So that's like
Amazing.
my portal in the World Wide Web and everything like that. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so that really does lead into the first question. Like, how did your spiritual journey begin? Like your spiritual awakening, what happened?
Oh man. So Um, it's funny but not funny. Spirituality has been a part of my life, my whole life since I was born. Things I perceived stuff as normal, and then realized later that my siblings didn't experience what I experienced. So like, spirit has been a part of me. It's just that I was scared of it. I was scared of my part here. I was scared of my gifts. I was scared of what I could see and hear and everything. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, like almost all the clairs. So I could see
Wow.
stuff, hear stuff, and feel stuff. And I got scared. My mom's clairvoyant too, and she would just constantly say, "Hey, you know, you have what I do. I can tell. So just be ready." And I'd be like, "No, I don't want to see it." I just thought the worst thing. I thought I was just going to see like crazy, scary demons and spirits all the
Right.
time, and didn't even think that it could be beautiful too. So
Mhm.
I ran from it. I ran from it for a long time,
I
and
think that's what
it,
happens to many people on the journey at the moment, like
yeah,
because it's not in our society at all, and it's actually shunned a lot of the time, or people are laughed at because of their spiritual awakening, or laughed at because they have spiritual powers
yeah,
or they're psychic, and then they're pushed
yeah,
out of society in a way. This is what society does: is they make it a joke, like, "Oh yeah, you're psychic, ha ha ha." But actually, in like
yeah,
native tribes, in times before when like actually we had more community, that the
yeah,
psychics were the ones that were the leaders of the community, right? But this has
yes,
been pushed
yes.
away so that we're not in touch with that higher consciousness, and then we're more easily controlled. So I think this is part of the awakening also, is recognizing that our spiritual powers are, to be celebrated, right?
You're giving me. I'm like feeling chills, and my crown is tingling. It's so true. You know, we are the medicine woman. We are the priestess. We are the medicine woman from days of old. We've reincarnated. It looks different, but we're doing the same. We're doing the same practices. We've had like
Right.
lifetimes and lifetimes of
Yeah.
practice of the same mission. I hope you guys can hear me. Like I didn't know they were going to be
Yeah,
working on their
it's
roof.
okay, don't worry. There's
Yeah,
always that. I think sometimes, when these connections happen, because we're in this matrix of like, there's control, there's layers to this. So sometimes you're going to get challenges.
yeah,
When we connect with our spirits like this, there's going to be a challenge. So I know this happens sometimes. Like, I was connecting with another spiritual woman on the Mind Wisdom Project, and we just kept getting interrupted connection. But that's for a reason. I think it's always a sign when there's
yeah,
blockages to actually keep going, because it
yeah.
means we're on something powerful when we connect like
Yeah.
this.
And I was like, it's not bothering me, but I don't know how well you guys can hear me. And
No, I
I,
can hear you. Don't
I don't
worry.
want to be anywhere else because, like, this is where, now that it's warmer, I've been coming out here and sitting by this tree. And so this is where I'll like meditate and like tune into nature. So they weren't out
Nice.
here at first. So I was like, whatever, I'm staying here. This is where I'm going to be. So,
You
yeah.
just have to keep it moving. That's the thing. I think I'm learning that even more. Like, I used to think, oh, challenges mean that I'm not on the right path, but sometimes it's actually completely the opposite. Those challenges mean you're on the right path, and spirit is testing you because you're evolving as a soul. You need more
Oh my God.
challenges, right?
Right.
Right. I wanted to ask you, what else is there? Yeah, any weird phenomena has happened in your life? So I'm expecting that quite a lot, seems as you've got all the clairs.
Oh, yeah.
There
So
must
when I
be some
saw that
really
question,
strange phenomena. Like, is
I was
there
like,
anything
well,
like particularly interesting that's happened to you, like spiritually, that you want to share?
gosh. I mean, it's everything from like things that I perceive as normal, other people don't, like I was saying earlier. So there's times I catch stuff and then like for example in when I was in Italy and it was like my first time being around others like me and this is in 2013 so it's literally a year after I had instant awakening happen. I was like part of the wave of the
Ah,
star
a lot
seeds.
of mine was in 2012 as well, like 10
Yeah.
years ago from 2020, which I always found really
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah. No, there
But
was a
well, no.
huge it was so powerful. In 2012 all the messages that were coming forth and just it was a wave of us, it was a collective of us star seeds that were
Yeah.
activated and the Pleiadians had like already seeded a bunch of codes and it just boom, it's like we all woke up and we were like holy shit what, and it's like you just knew things and
Because
so like
2012 was supposed to be the original like change. But I
Yeah.
think there was, in the planets a delay, and then now this is the second wave of that change.
I still
So I
think
think,
it still occurred though, and it's like it's cool. There's this anthropologist. I love his videos, and then this other guy, and it was still predicted, like the Mayan calendar and even other indigenous tribes. It was still a reset of something, and I forget
2012,
now,
yeah,
but it made sense.
yeah,
And I have that link somewhere if you're interested. I'll send it to you later. But I think everything is still happening for a reason. Like there was a huge wave, and then it's like we've been working, oh my god, have we been working like through so much stuff that you can't really see in the physical realm, but a lot of
yeah.
stuff was going on in the etheric realms of. So I guess that's part of phenomenon. I mean, I could say I've seen beautiful stuff like interacting with highly evolved beings, angelic beings, seeing beautiful beings, and then I've seen really scary, demonic, parasitic beings. So I'm
And
just
was this
kind of,
before or after ayahuasca, or you were getting this before you did plant medicine?
yeah, before too. It's just that I didn't have as much of an understanding. I would say that I decided I wanted to understand my abilities after being in Philadelphia for a year, and it was so hard there. And that's when I was really picking up on a lot of demonic, like heavy, heavy shit there. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was there for activism, but I realized that my place wasn't in the physical world and activism. My place was in the spiritual world, doing shamanic work. And I was like,
Yeah.
I just need to go back to the Midwest and figure myself. I need to figure out
That's
my
so
gifts.
interesting that you say that, because recently I've been thinking about like where my connection is and what my role is and how I manifest as well. And I posted like a picture of like what I used to look like when I was 12, and I went through like many stages of transformation in my life and
Yeah.
understanding that my thoughts create my reality and changing my physical appearance quite easily via my thoughts, not via action. And
Yeah.
I recognize now that my power is actually in molding the physical. I see that a bit more. So
It's so
my
true.
work is more about physical action, rather than being like, I do get downloads and stuff, but it's not so much of the clairs. It's just inner knowings of what action I should take. So
That's clear
it's interesting that,
cognizance.
yeah,
It
it's
is.
yeah, true. It's interesting, when we start to find our role a little bit more, it helps us to push forwards and do the work better, because we recognize, okay, I'm going to work on these strengths that I already have.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
ask you, like, yeah, along the lines of this, like, how do you connect more deeply to source energy? Is it through meditation? Is it through nature?
Both. Number one, I would tell anybody is nature. Go into nature. That's why before we even I came out here like an hour early to sit here to connect. And another tool, plant medicine, which I noticed we both like love. So I'm starting to see this movement now. Now I'm seeing in even more
Well, I
ways
haven't
why there's
actually done
certain women.
ayahuasca, only mushrooms. So for me, there's still like a next step for the
Oh,
journey to come.
there's still plant medicine for me to do too, but I noticed you talk about cannabis. I didn't check out, I didn't see anything on psilocybin, but I can already tell, like the way you talk about Santa Maria, if you talk about her that way, then I
Yeah.
know that you revere and honor all plant medicine. So,
It was, yeah, it was
yeah.
mushrooms for me that changed a lot. Like, again, affecting the physical realm. I did like mushrooms one time, and I was connecting like to a different dimension and moving energy. And then in Dolores Cannon, she does like a regression, and that she regressed one's spirit, and they came back with some information about living in this dimension where you basically just chuck energy around. And I was like, I've been there.
Where you do
So
what? Where you track energy around?
you chuck it around, and like you create like instantaneously, basically. And
Oh,
it's basically like a play dimension where you can make things so quickly, and I felt that so deeply on that trip. And
I'm
then
so
I
glad
read
you
an
said
account of
that.
a spirit that lived in that dimension, in Dolores Cannon's work, and I was like, yeah, I think we're connected. It's interesting.
I'm so
And you were
glad you
saying
said that
you
because
connect
I'll
with
say,
nature
oh,
the most.
yeah. I'm going to add on to that real quick and then I'll talk about the other tools, but it, I'm pretty, it was either, it was either cannabis or it was acid. I can't remember. But me and my partner did a ceremony a few years ago, and I remember we walked outside. I love to do plant medicine and then go outside because it's like, you know. But so we went outside and it was dark, And as we were walking, I had, I had no thoughts. It was empty. And then all of a sudden I was receiving channeling about, like, because every time a thought came in or a sound, and then I see it was creating, and I was like, oh, like, it's hard to put into words. I guess, sound forms, and I do sound healing too. So it made so much sense why, like, I always grew up with what they call synesthesia. So, like, I see sound, I taste, smell, whatever sound, or there's
Yeah,
colors to it. So, like, when
that
I
happened to me
sit and,
after mushrooms as well.
oh, that's
I had
awesome.
I could see music in the air, but
Yeah,
it wore off. It wore off. Like I had it for a couple of months. It was a particularly intense like uh,
it's
trip and journey.
beautiful.
It didn't wear off for ages. I was like, oh yeah, I can see music, and then after a while, it went away.
Oh my God. And you know what? I'm sure it's still there for you. And
Yes, it
so,
is
like,
kind of it's light, you know.
so, like, I just, and it makes so much sense because when I do sound healing and really tune in, like, I feel or see a color or whatever, and I just express it with the sound. Like, I just follow what I'm seeing up here out with sounds. I was like, oh, now I get it on an even, like, larger scale how sound creates. So that's that. But I wanted to share this plant medicine or whatever. Actually, it is a plant medicine because it's made from the ashes of trees. Have you heard of hape?
Oh yeah, I let me see. Yes, yes, I did that here in San Marcos.
Oh, nice. So I was like, as I was taking my shower and getting ready, I'm like, I know I want to go outside and just get grounded and everything, but I told you when I get excited, I get anxious. So I was like, I really need to be grounded so I can answer her questions in a focused manner. And Hape helps me. So, and I heard that I needed to do the Nukini Hape because there's different types of Hape. So I did Nukini, which I believe is like a really gentle. So that's another tool I use. So I use nature. I mean, I was just anybody. If you can't figure out what to do, just go somewhere by a tree or go to a park, or just find a space with some grass or a tree, and the more you go into nature, it really recalibrates your system. It helps tune you into all these different frequencies, especially 432 hertz, and things start to change if you really do go into nature more. So that's the number one tool. And then you can meditate while you're in nature, and there's different meditations from just breathing to observing nature and seeing what animals come forward and what messages come forward, to even just doing plant medicine while you're in nature, whatever. Take a walk. There's walking meditation. There's different types of meditation. So these are different tools. And
And
mhm.
synchronicities. Have you had any interesting synchronicities? Do you get angel numbers or
Oh yeah, of
yeah,
course. Tons of numbers. I
yeah,
literally one synchronicity that just happened right before I got into your live. So I was sitting here waiting because I didn't know how to join it. So I had Instagram open, and I put my hands on the earth, and I was just like, thank you, Mama Earth, and like just giving gratitude. And I think that's when I was giving gratitude about, I'm glad that you looked like Shakira, because that made me, I was like, oh shoot, who's this pretty person? Let me click on her. And like, when I did that, and I was like, just giving thanks, because it's taken me a long time to, well, I perceive it as a long time. I mean, but a lot of inner work and a lot of focusing on my mission to be where I am at now, for everything that's happening right now to be transpiring, from my projects to meeting women like you. And so when I was giving thanks for that and voicing that, I got this notification from this astrology app that I have called The Pattern. And it literally was a synchronicity. I don't know if I like pulled it down right now. I don't know what would happen with the live, so I'm not going to do it. But it was like talking about how right now there's a feeling of excitement and intensity of passion in the air and something else. And I could see the connection of how I feel and like this momentum of what's happening and connecting with you and these other women. So that's a synchronicity.
And
Yeah.
can you share some projects that you're working on at the moment? Because I think this is actually quite synchronous.
Yeah.
Anyway, because we've got the same sort of ideas in our mind about things we'd like to create. So maybe you can share a little bit about your projects.
Yeah. That is another synchronicity. When we talked, I think it was just last week, I was like, oh, you too. So I'm currently working on about to publish episode 5 of my podcast, She of the Throne. So that's a love child and my main focus, along with this other focus. So She of the Throne podcast was birthed from my time with Mother Ayahuasca. They, my guides and my higher self and everything, like pushed me to do that. So in episode 5, Scarlet Raven, who I didn't even know, she found me. So yeah, just all this energy happening. And in the episode, we talk about like our similar visions, which I had no idea she had similar visions. That's what I'm saying. So like, we talk about, being star seeds and like leaving the old situations behind, the old world, and really tuning into our inner compass and anchoring in the new earth codes and anchoring in and encoding earth with these codes and our visions of how new earth needs a structure, and it's not going to be the same structure that's on in the old paradigm, which leads me into the other project, which is my university. And this has also been a love child and a thought since 2013. And for now, I was like, well, I'll just make an online university for now until maybe I can see it manifest a different way. So I have this course that it took me a while to create the curriculum, but I'm proud of myself. It's finally done. I'm just on the part where I need to record the video lectures and get all the visuals together. And so that'll be available soon on Akosmopolite University. That's the other love child. Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, I think it's so dovetails because that's like for the last few years, my dream is mind reprogramming centers across the whole world, one in each continent, because it is the reprogramming of our minds that is the new earth, because our minds are going to create that new reality.
Exactly.
So, and I'm actually linked with somebody else who has a beautiful idea about teaching the light work, basically teaching your spiritual practice more, teaching
Yes.
the technique that we can use to reprogram our minds, which then is collectively going to create new earth. So it's not really a coincidence that we've got these same ideas, because we're here to build that,
Yeah, no, it's definitely for a reason.
And then my last question is, what is the biggest benefit of dedicating yourself to your spiritual practice?
I sat with this for a while, and like spirit came through strong with this because I was going to express it a different way, but spirit came in really strong about this. So, I mean, you're a living testimony of it. I'm a living testimony of devotion to spiritual practice. And there's tons and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of us who are displaying what is possible when you have devotion to spiritual practice. What's the benefit of it? You kind of see it when we post things. The spirit wants me to go a little bit deeper in this having this platform at this time. So, what happens when you start to devote yourself to spiritual practice? Of course, you start to learn to go within, right? You start to meditate and go within, and you start to see who you really are and dismantle and peel away layers of programming. So when you're doing this, you start to tap into your inner power, and then you start to realize that inner power is a fraction, it's a part of source, of the creator. And when you do that, so then you start to realize your power, your inner power, and then you start to tap into your sovereignty as a sovereign being. And this is huge. And this is what spirit wants to come through right now. Like, I'm feeling like, ooh, crazy tingles on my crown.
I can feel it too. I just got the tingles.
Oh my God. So like,
that's beautiful.
Spirit wants everyone to know that there's so much more happening in other realms that you guys may not be aware of. There's been a war that's been going on for a long, long time. And when you take the time to devote yourself to spiritual practice, when you do this and you tap into your inner power, into source, into creator, into your sovereignty, you are then becoming less of a food source to these parasitic entities that have been on the planet for a very, very long time, that have had this old structure on the planet for a very, very, very long time. Some people who are listening might be like, what are you talking about? And that's okay. But just please be receptive to this message, and if not, maybe it's confirmation for you. But trust this and know that, the structure in place, it's one of slavery. It's one of parasiticism. And it's one of fear mongering and it just keeping you in a low vibration so that these entities that you can't see with your eyes, there are so many other things happening in other non-physical realms, and they work in tangent with certain governments to keep things in place. So the old structure is falling, and what we're doing, you, me, all these other star seeds and brothers and sisters of the light, what we're doing here, we are encoding the earth with the codes of new earth, of a new structure. So these visions and dreams that we have, this is all part of that in creating the new as the old is fucking falling apart. Like, so as you devote yourself to your spiritual practice and you get to know who you are, you reclaim your sovereignty, you start to tap in and your vibration is getting higher. That's what it is. Your vibration is higher and you are no longer feeding that old structure, and you're feeding into and connecting to the new earth and helping us build that new structure.
That's so beautiful.
That's what spirit wanted. Ooh, I'm feeling chills
Feel
over
it. I could feel so many chills. And then as you were speaking, this little bumblebee came and sat on my phone.
Oh my
And, I
God.
think bumblebees are very symbolic of creation, of
Yeah.
the creating beautiful, connective
Oh my
energy.
God.
So I think that's so beautiful.
Oh my God, that
And,
is awesome.
this is exactly why, like, I wanted to connect with you more on live, is because we do get the same information, and that's exactly how I see and feel what's happening at the moment. And the reason that our spiritual practice is important is because you can't be controlled anymore. The more you raise
Yeah.
your vibration, the more you connect to source, then you're just not feeding that old paradigm. So yeah, what a great way to finish our little chat. Let's do it again sometime as well. And obviously, I'm really excited for other ways that we can connect and create.
Yes, I'm so glad we found each other. You have no idea.
And
Like,
just before we go, like, let people know like how they can connect with your podcast or any other projects that you're doing.
so I do have a link on Instagram.
Okay.
It's so milkshake or whatever, but there's a link there. When you go there, it's like a little bio of me, and it's a cool little thing where you can swipe left. I think you swipe left, and then there will be more links. So I mean, everything's there, from like my university, the free class that I have right now on the university that will kind of give you a gist of what the whole course will be. My podcast link is there, She of the Throne, and you can literally just get on whatever podcast platform you like, Apple, Google, whatever, and just look up She of the Throne, and you'll find it. So yeah, my website, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything's there. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much.
I have one question for you.
Yeah, of course.
It's like I feel super funny. It's funnier than it is embarrassing, but I'm kind of embarrassed. Like, do you go by the name Virginia? Is your name
Yeah,
Virginia? Okay, I wanted to make
yeah.
sure. So, okay, good. All right.
Actually, I recognize this the other days. Like when I make my YouTube videos, like people always say their name, and I always forget to like say who I am. But
I
yeah,
didn't do
Virginia.
it in the beginning either, so.
No. Yeah, I think this is something also that's transient, isn't it? People change their names as they go through spiritual awakening,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual journeys. It's never something that I've done, but there's a lot of power in it. So, I think a name also keeps you like in this certain structure of who you should be. But when I was younger, people used to call me Ginny, and I did change my name to my full name, Virginia. And I did have a little bit of
Oh,
a transition to embodiment of a newer version of me after that. So it's an interesting topic. Maybe we
I
should
was
make a new.
kind of, I was curious if your name is like somehow related to Virgo or something, because Virginia,
Well, I am
Virgin,
a
the Virgin
Virgo.
Virgo.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo,
Ah,
and my name is Virginia. And like my dad and my family, they spent a lot of time in Virginia in America. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I like my names. I think like spirit definitely,
Yeah.
they came through on that one for me. Because my name is Trina
Yeah.
Marie. It's deep. When I found out
It's
the full
beautiful.
meaning of it, I was like, whoa. We can
Yeah,
get
and
it.
I mean, it
We'll get
goes
into
down
it
to.
more about in
Yeah, I think
names.
we can make a new live on that, because also like why I'm getting more into mantra. Words literally create worlds.
They
Like
do.
a whole freaking universe can be created from the power of your voice, the power of the word. So the name is important. Your name, the name of your business, the name of your Instagram holds a lot of power.
That's really good. Yeah.
But yeah, let's do this again.
I hope so.
Sending you lots of love to your day.
You too. Bye, everyone. Thank you,
Bye,
Virginia, for this
guys.
opportunity.
Of
Bye.
course.